Hello and welcome to Millennium News Hour. I am Tanziba Nawreen. In today's bulletin, we will present top and trending news from across the nation and the world. Let's begin with the headlines of the day. Video shows moment Russian jet dumped fuel on and struck US drone. Treasury Secretary Yellen tells Congress US banking system remains sound. Sharp drop in illegal border crossings continued in February, US says. TickTock says US threatens ban if Chinese owners don't sell stakes. Grand jury heard another recording of Trump pressuring Georgia official. New York to Trump, no more delay in civil fraud case. Judge appears sympathetic to abortion pill challenge in consequential Texas hearing. Utah governor signs legislation banning clinics from providing abortions. Amazon sued for not telling New York store customers about facial recognition. Mother and grandfather charged after newborn baby found dead in Iowa ditch. Jen Psaki enters TV's weekend fray with show starting Sunday. Poland to be first NATO member to give Ukraine fighter jets. Tons of uranium have gone missing from Libya, raising nuclear security fears. Japan and South Korea renew ties at rare Tokyo summit. Italian court deliberates appeal of two California men convicted of killing police officer. Tiafoe Medvedev reach Indian Wells semi-finals, golf out. And Georgia's Jalen Carter gets 1-year probation, 1,000 fine. You were listening to headlines, now news in detail. The Pentagon has released footage of what it says is a Russian aircraft conducting an unsafe intercept of a US Air Force surveillance drone in international airspace over the Black Sea. The 42-second video shows a Russian Su-27 approaching the back of the MQ-9 drone and beginning to release fuel as it passes, the Pentagon said. Dumping the fuel appeared to be aimed at blinding its optical instruments and driving it out of the area. On a second approach, either the same jet or another Russian fighter that had been shadowing the MQ-9 struck the drone's propeller, damaging one blade, according to the US military. The US military said it ditched the MQ-9 Reaper in the sea Tuesday. The video excerpt released by the Pentagon does not show events before or after the apparent fuel dumping confrontation. Earlier this week, the Pentagon said the Russian jets flew around and in front of the drone several times for 30 to 40 minutes before colliding with the unmanned aerial vehicle. They said Thursday's declassified video had been edited for length. However, the events are depicted in sequential order. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Mark Milley have spoken to their Russian counterparts about the destruction of the US drone following the encounter with Russian fighter jets. The calls with Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu and Chief of Russian General Staff General Valery Gerasimov on Wednesday were the first since October. A week after the second largest bank collapse in U.S. history, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told the Senate Finance Committee on Thursday that the nation's banking system remains sound and Americans can feel confident about their deposits. Yellen is the first Biden administration official to face lawmakers over the decision to protect uninsured money at two failed regional banks, a move that some Republicans have criticized as a bank bailout. The government took decisive and forceful actions to strengthen public confidence in the U.S. banking system, Yellen said in testimony before the committee. I can reassure the members of the committee that our banking system remains sound and that Americans can feel confident that their deposits will be there when they need them. In less than a week, Silicon Valley Bank, based in Santa Clara, California, failed after depositors rushed to withdraw money amid anxiety over the bank's health. Then regulators convened over the weekend and announced that New York-based Signature Bank also failed. They ensured all depositors, including those holding uninsured funds exceeding $250,000, were protected by federal deposit insurance. The Justice Department and the Securities and Exchange Commission have since launched investigations into the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. A sharp drop in illegal border crossings along the southwest border that started in January after the Biden administration announced stricter immigration measures continued into February, the administration announced Wednesday. The data released by the U.S. Customs and Border Protection paints a picture of who is attempting to enter the country at a time of intense political controversy, with Republicans seeing immigration as a potent issue with voters and accusing President Biden and Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas of not doing enough to secure the southern border. U.S. Border Patrol officials encountered migrants 128,877 times trying to cross the border in February between the legal border crossings. That's about the same as January's number, 128,913, and is the lowest number of encounters per month since February 2021, the agency said. The numbers of encounters doesn't necessarily equate to individual people, since some migrants try repeatedly to cross the border. The agency said about 25% of those encountered in February were repeat encounters, meaning that at some time during the last 12 months they had been detained by U.S. officials as they tried to enter the country. In comparison, U.S. officials stopped migrants 221,693 times between the ports of entry along the Mexican border in December. The Biden administration has demanded that TickTok's Chinese owners divest their stakes in the popular video app or face a possible U.S. ban, the company told Reuters on Wednesday. The move is the most dramatic in a series of recent steps by U.S. officials and legislators who have raised fears that TickTok's U.S. user data could be passed on to China's government. ByteDance-owned TickTok has more than 100 million U.S. users. It is also the first time under the administration of Democratic President Joe Biden that a potential ban on TickTok has been threatened. Biden's predecessor, Republican Donald Trump, had tried to ban TickTok in 2020 but was blocked by U.S. courts. TikTok spokesperson Brooke Overwater said that the company had recently heard from the U.S. Treasury-led Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, which demanded that the Chinese owners of the app sell their shares, and said otherwise they would face a possible U.S. ban of the video app. The Georgia grand jury that was tasked with investigating whether former President Trump interfered with the 2020 election has heard a recording of a phone call the former president had with a top state lawmaker, according to a report. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution interviewed 5 of the 23 jurors in the case, who revealed that they listened to a recording of a phone conversation between Trump and Georgia House Speaker David Ralston, a detail that was not previously reported on or made public. The jurors said the recording revealed Trump asking Ralston to convene a special session of the state legislature to overturn President Biden's win in Georgia. Ralston, who died in November, did not call for a special session. One of the jurors, who all declined to be named due to safety and privacy concerns, said the phone call showed that Ralston was an amazing politician. The juror told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution that the speaker basically cut the president off. He said, "I will do everything in my power that I think is appropriate." The audio is the third such recording of a Trump call to Georgia officials that has been revealed as part of the former president's campaign to pressure them into overturning the 2020 election results in the state. New York's Attorney General urged a state judge to reject Donald Trump's bid to delay her civil fraud case against him and said the former U.S. president might use his 2024 White House run as an excuse for further delay. In a Wednesday night court filing, Attorney General Letitia James said her office had provided Trump and other defendants with an enormous quantity of material, including 1.7 million documents and interview transcripts for 56 witnesses. She said that negates their plea for an extra 6 months to gather evidence to defend themselves adequately at trial, now scheduled for October 2, and accused them of being slow to conduct their own witness depositions. The record defendants have and are compiling is more than sufficient to afford them due process and prevent the trial from becoming a game of surprise, James said. When the calendar turns over into 2024, Donald Trump will be in the midst of a campaign for president, she added. Defendants have used his campaign as a reason for delay in both 2016 and 2020. There is no reason to believe 2024 will be any different. Lawyers for the defendants did not immediately respond on Thursday to requests for comment. A judge appointed by former President Donald Trump heard arguments Wednesday in a lawsuit that aims to ban an abortion medication that women in the U.S. have used widely for over 2 decades. During the 4-hour hearing, U.S. District Judge Matthew Kaczmarek appeared sympathetic to arguments from the lawyers for a coalition of anti-abortion groups called the Alliance for Hippocratic Medicine. Their goal in filing the suit was to overturn the Food and Drug Administration's approval of the pills used to terminate pregnancies, which account for more than half of abortions in the U.S. At issue was a request from the plaintiffs for a preliminary injunction to pull mifepristone, one of the pills in the standard 2-drug regimen, of the market nationwide while the case proceeds. The drugs used in medication abortions have become increasingly significant in the fights over abortion rights since Roe v. Wade was overturned. Should Kaczmarek order a ban on mifepristone, it would further hinder abortion access across the U.S., but in Wednesday's hearing, attorneys for both sides focused largely on the FDA's regulatory and approval process and didn't mention abortion access or when life begins. Kaczmarek seemed to offer the plaintiffs more windows than the defense to clarify and elaborate on their arguments, especially those related to the FDA's approval process and the scope of a potential injunction. Utah's Republican Governor Spencer Cox signed legislation Wednesday that will by next year ban clinics from providing abortions, setting off a rush of confusion among clinics, hospitals, and prospective patients in the deeply Republican state. Administrators from hospitals and clinics have not publicly detailed their plans to adapt to the new law, adding a layer of uncertainty on top of fear that if clinics close, patients may not be able to access care at hospitals because of a variety of staffing and cost concerns. With the law set to start taking effect as early as May 3, both the Planned Parenthood Association of Utah and the Utah Hospital Association declined to detail how the increasingly fraught legal landscape for providers in Utah will affect abortion access. The turmoil mirrors developments in Republican strongholds throughout the United States that have taken shape since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned the Roe v. Wade decision, transformed the legal landscape, and prompted a raft of lawsuits in at least 21 states. Amazon did not alert its New York City customers that they were being monitored by facial recognition technology, a lawsuit filed Thursday alleges. In a class action suit, lawyers for Alfredo Perez said that the company failed to tell visitors to Amazon Go convenience stores that the technology was in use. Thanks to a 2021 law, New York is the only major American city to require businesses to post signs if they are tracking customers' biometric information, such as facial scans or fingerprints. Amazon introduced its Go stores in 2018, promising that customers could walk in, take whatever products they wanted off the shelves, and leave without checking out. The company monitors visitors' actions and charges their accounts when they leave the store. It opened its first New York location the following year and has 10 stores, all in Manhattan, according to its website. The lawsuit says that Amazon only recently put up signs informing New York customers of its use of facial recognition technology, more than a year after the disclosure law went into effect. Amazon didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. The mother and grandfather of a newborn found dead in a ditch in Iowa have been charged with first-degree murder, and court documents say they told investigators the baby was still alive when they put him in a trash bag and abandoned him. Megan K. Stewart of Norfolk told police the child was born at home on February 24, according to a police affidavit. She told authorities that she put him in a box and didn't provide any care for 2 days before she and her father, Rodney, also confessed and said he helped his daughter dispose of the bag in a ditch near Norwalk, according to the documents. Both the stars initially told police the baby died on the way to the hospital after it was born, authorities said. Megan said she buried him in a cemetery in Cumming, Iowa, but authorities found no evidence of a fresh grave at the cemetery. 7 months into her new television career, it's clear that Jen Psaki didn't sign with MSNBC to just dabble in the media. The former White House press secretary was up early Monday to appear on the 6 a.m. Eastern hour of Morning Joe and spoke to Lawrence O'Donnell on Last Word 16 hours later. She taped an appearance on Stephen Colbert's Late Show on CBS in between. She has got a new show to promote. Her Sunday series Inside with Jen Psaki premieres this weekend. Yet that doesn't fully explain the busy schedule. When I look at Jen and her potential, she is absolutely a big part of our future, said MSNBC President Rashida Jones. You have seen that already. The network is banking on Psaki and her popularity with MSNBC's liberal audience. She has already taken a seat at the anchor desk on big events like midterm election night and her former boss' State of the Union address, and makes frequent appearances on day-to-day shows. She will write a regular column for the network's morning newsletter and is developing a yet-to-be-described show for the Peacock streaming service. Now it's time for global updates. Poland's president said Thursday that his country plans to give Ukraine around a dozen MiG-29 fighter jets, which would make it the first NATO member to fulfill the Ukrainian government's increasingly urgent requests for war plans. President Andrzej Duda said Poland would hand over 4 of the Soviet-made war plans within the next few days, and that the rest needed servicing and would be supplied later. The Polish word he used to describe their number can mean between 11 and 19. They are in the last years of their functioning, but they are in good working condition, due to state of the aircraft. Toyota did not say whether other countries would be making the same move, although Slovakia has said it would send its disused MiGs to Ukraine. On Wednesday, Polish government spokesman Piotr Mueller said some other countries with MiGs also had pledged them to Kiev, but he did not name them. While Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has pleaded for Western supporters to share fighter jets, NATO allies have expressed hesitancy. Around 2.5 tons of natural uranium have gone missing from a site in war-torn Libya, the United Nations nuclear watchdog has revealed, raising security and safety fears. The International Atomic Energy Agency said in a statement that its Director General, General Rafael Mariano Grossi, had informed member states about the missing uranium on Wednesday. During an inspection carried out Tuesday, agency's safeguards inspectors found that 10 drums containing approximately 2.5 tons of natural uranium in the form of uranium ore concentrate were not present as previously declared at a location in the state of Libya, the statement said. The Vienna-based agency added that it was carrying out further activities to clarify the circumstances of the removal of the nuclear material and its current location. Natural uranium can't immediately be used for energy production or bomb fuel, but if obtained by a group with the technological means and resources, it could be refined to weapons-grade material over time and may also carry radiological risks in the event of prolonged exposure, experts say. That makes finding the missing uranium a priority. Japan and South Korea agreed to resume regular visits between their leaders and take steps to resolve a trade dispute during a highly anticipated summit Thursday, in what Japan's Prime Minister called a big step to rebuilding the two nations' security and economic ties as they try to overcome a century of difficult history. The summit could revise the strategic map of Northeast Asia. The two US allies, who have long often been at odds over their history, are seeking to form a united front, driven by shared concerns about a restive North Korea and a more powerful China. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol both stressed the importance of improved ties as they opened Thursday's summit, hours after a North Korean missile launch and encounters between Japanese and Chinese vessels in disputed waters. In his opening remarks, Kishida said that the meeting will mark the resumption of regular visits between the leaders, which have been on hold for more than a decade. He told a joint news conference that the countries had agreed to resume defense dialogue and vice-ministerial strategic talks, while also restarting a process of trilateral communication among Japan, South Korea and China. Yoon said Thursday's meeting has a special significance as it shows the people of both countries that South Korea-Japan relations are off to a new beginning after being plagued by various issues. He added that the two countries that share the same democratic values are partners that must cooperate on security, economic issues and global agendas. Italy's highest court started deliberations Wednesday in what should be the final appeal of two US citizens convicted in the stabbing death of a police officer during a plainclothes operation in Rome in the summer of 2019. Finnegan Lee Elder, now 23, and Gabriel Natal Jord, now 22, were convicted in May 2021 of slaying the 35-year-old officer as well as of attempted extortion, resisting a public official, and carrying an attack-style knife without just cause. The two men, who were friends in Northern California before they traveled to Italy together, initially received life sentences, Italy's most severe penalty. An appeals court last year upheld their convictions but reduced the sentences to 24 years for Elder and 22 years for Natal. The Italian legal system allows defendants another appeal to Italy's Supreme Court of Cassation, which heard some 7 hours of arguments before going into deliberations Wednesday evening. The court can either uphold the convictions or send the case back for a retrial if it finds errors in the rules of law. Natal, Jord and Elder's lawyers argued that there were flaws in the prosecution's reconstruction of events from the night Carabinieri Vice Brigadier Mario Cercello Rega was stabbed 11 times near the hotel where the two American tourists were staying. The defense also claimed Cercello Rega's partner lied when he said the two officers showed the young men their badges to identify themselves as law enforcement. During the original trial, the defendants testified that neither officer identified himself as a police officer and they that thought the Italians dressed in casual summer clothes were thugs. Now it's time for business news. Today's New York stock close price is 14,662.55. The NYSE composite is decreased by 282.19 points or 1.89%. Tokyo stock close price is 27,010.61. The Nikkei 225 index is decreased by 218.87 points or 0.80%. Shanghai stock close price is 3,226.8912. The Shanghai Composite Index is decreased by 36.42 points or 1.12%. Hong Kong stock close price is 19,203.91. The Hang Seng Index is decreased by 335.96 points or 1.72%. Bombay stock close price is 57,634.84. The Sensex index is increased by 78.94 points or 0.14%. Let's have a look on today's sports stories. Frances Tiafoe defeated 10th-seeded Cameroon Norrie 6-4, 6-4 Wednesday to reach the semi-finals of the BNP Paribas Open. The 14th-seeded American ended the 2021 champion's 8-match winning streak to earn his first semi-berth in a Masters 1000 tournament. "Super happy about today," Tiafoe said on court. "I have been playing really well all week. Let's keep it going." Tiafoe hit 22 winners and had just 9 unforced errors. He punctuated the victory, which was briefly interrupted by rain, by serving a love game. Tiafoe hasn't dropped a set in 4 matches during the tournament. Next, he will play number 5 Danny Medvedev, who beat Alexandro Davidovich Fokina 6-3, 7-5. Georgia defensive tackle Jalen Carter was given 12 months probation and a $1,000 fine on Thursday after pleading no contest to misdemeanor charges of reckless driving and racing related to a crash that killed Bulldogs offensive lineman Devin Willock and a recruiting staff member. Projected as one of the top players in next month's NFL draft, Carter was sentenced in Athens Clarke County Municipal Court, according to a statement from attorney Kim T. Stephens. Carter also must complete 50 hours of community service and a state-approved defensive driving course. The state can't bring additional charges against Carter, the statement said, adding that Carter entered the pleas in order to resolve this matter in the most efficient manner possible. Athens Clarke County Solicitor General Will Flanner did not immediately return messages seeking comment. Let's have a look on today's weather forecast. That's all in today's news. Keep watching Millennium News 24 for latest update. Millennium TV USA and Millennium News 24 network is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia, available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jagu TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jagu BD Network and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with us for all types of informative and entertainment program. Thank you.